We continue now with our theme of highlights from Talkback. This is installment 31. In our last installment 30, we concluded the one-finger angle gestures where we saw the drawing of a line right and curving down to bring down the notification shade. Today, I'll be starting a series on the multi-finger gestures, and we'll be starting with the two-finger tap. If you happen to have a phone that does not support the multi-finger gestures, this action or this gesture may not be applicable to you. For those of you using phones that do not support these gestures, this is where we say goodbye. However, you can always use those traditional two-finger gestures of swiping up or down to move through vertical pages and swiping left or right to move through those horizontal pages. For today's demonstration, I'll be using my Pixel 4 running Android 12 and Talkback 12.1. I will now invoke the Talkback menu by tapping with 3 fingers to invoke the Talkback menu.
Talkback menu.
We are now in the Talkback menu. The item that I'm looking for next will be the Talkback settings. I will now put my finger down and tap on Talkback settings.
Talkback settings in list.
Here is Talkback settings, and I'll tap here to activate.
Talkback settings. Navigate up. Button out of list.
We are now in the Talkback settings. And if you're familiar with this series, you know that the next thing we want to do here is to simply scroll down the page. We put 2 fingers down in the middle of the phone and then gliding them upwards. And by doing so, we are actually scrolling down the page. Doing the opposite of that would be gliding the fingers downwards, which scrolls up the page. I will now put my 2 fingers down, glide them upwards, and scroll down the page.
Showing items 3 to 14 of 14.
Now what I'm looking for here is an item that says Customize Gestures. I'll put my finger down and tap on Customize Gestures.
Customize gestures.
Here is Customize Gestures. We'll tap here to activate Customize Gestures.
Customize gestures. Navigate up. Button out of list.
We are now on the gesture customization page. This is when I'll change my granularity to the heading's granularity. We change our granularities in one of 3 ways. 1. We could put down 1 finger and scrub up and down in one fluid movement to change the granularity. The second method would be to swipe down with 3 fingers from the top of the phone, and that will also change our granularity. The last method would be to either swipe from left or right with 3 fingers to change those granularities. I tend to prefer the scrubbing using the 1-finger movement, and thus I will now scrub up and down with 1 finger to change my granularity to the heading's granularity.
Links. Controls.
I'll swipe up and down again.
Headings.
There we are on the heading's granularity. What I will do next is to swipe down with 1 finger and keep doing so till I get to the heading that I'm after, and that would be the 2-finger gesture headings. Here I go. I'll swipe down.
1 finger. Heading in list.
This is a 1 finger. Swipe down again.
1 finger back and forth. Heading.
1 finger back and forth, and the last of those 1-finger gestures would be
1 finger angle. Heading. Showing items 7 to 16 of 51.
And that's the last one that we dealt with. Now I'll swipe down again 1 more time and get to the 2-finger headings gesture. There is my 2-finger gesture heading. Now, instead of swiping down, we need to swipe from left to right to get to the items belonging to this particular heading. You can either swipe from left to right to move through the items, or simply move your finger downwards, and we're going to get the item that says 2 fingers. I'll now move my finger downwards and find that first item underneath this heading.
Tap with 2 fingers. Pause or resume speech.
Tap with 2 fingers. Pause or resume speech. In other words, if you happen to be reading an article, for example, and you want to pause for a second or for a minute or whatever, all that needs to happen is simply tap with 2 fingers. That pauses what you are reading, and then tapping again with 2 fingers resumes from where you left off. I'll now go ahead and find something and demonstrate that. I'll go back home here, find some article or find something within Google Chrome and try to demonstrate that. I'll now exit out of here.
Pixel Launcher. Folder. Browsers, 4 or more items.
Here is my browsers folder and I'll tap here.
Chrome.
Here's Chrome, I'll tap.
5%. Progress bar. Chrome. Google Assistant, your own personal Google, web view. 80%.
There I am on this page talking about the Google Assistant. I'll put my finger down to let it start reading.
Google Assistant is built to keep your information private, safe and
Now
secure.
tap with 2
Heading
fingers.
2.
Actually, I'm going to triple tap to let it continue reading.
When you use Google Assistant, you trust us with your data
Now I'm
and
going
it's
to
our
tap once with
responsibility
2
to
fingers
protect
to
and
pause.
respect it. Privacy is personal. That
pauses. I tap again with 2 fingers to resume.
privacy controls to help you choose what's right for you. Explore this page to learn more about how Google Assistant works, your built-in privacy controls, answers
Tap
to
again.
common questions.
And that pauses the speech. And that's how you go about using the 2-finger tap to either pause or resume speech. As always, you could always change this if you don't like this gesture. In other words, you could reassign this to an angular gesture or some other gesture if that's what you prefer. And that's the 2-finger tap to either pause or resume reading.